Peace. Welcome to my 11-month, 24-day check-in with No Nicotine. And in today's video, I'm just going to be doing a check-in, basically mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Checking in with you guys, talking about recently, my perspective on things when it comes to my journey of no nicotine. And starting off with mentally, I've been having a lot of, thoughts about why mentally it was the right thing to stop using nicotine in my personal experience, because, I just saw someone that had to use this machine to actually breathe. And they were using this apparatus to almost take a hit from this device, but it was not a vape or nicotine device or any substance of some sort. From what I know and what I gained from being in the situation, it seemed as if it was a air supply of pure air or whatnot, and it seems like that person could have gotten into that situation that they're in for possibly smoking. I'm not saying that this person did or this person didn't, and hopefully you're in the best state of being. To that person, if you're out there, I hope you're in the best state of being, let that be said, as well as it just mentally made me think, like, I gotta appreciate everything that I have, because I just saw someone who had to literally take, hits of air off this machine that had it was like a little bar like this with a tip on the top and a screen on it with like numbers and stuff, and it would make a noise. And I only was in the situation for like a few minutes, so I heard it make a noise, and it was like beep beep, or made a beeping noise. And then she went ahead, grabbed this thing, and was like taking a deep breath. So I can only assume that that person is up and fighting for their life and living a certain reality and living a certain life. And power to you, who you are. I came across them earlier tonight, about, I don't know how long ago, let's see. I'd say about 6-7 hours, ago. But anyways, mentally it made me think, I gotta be more appreciative. I never had to deal with that, and it made me think, it confirmed. And mentally I was like, that's a new thought form right there. Like, there's another reason, there's another supporting thing of why I can see mentally, and then now how physically I made the right decision for myself. Because I don't know if this person ended up in that situation because of smoking or because of some sort of other breathing related issue, but I'm just saying, if there's any reason for why one should be more aware of their actions, then let that kind of serve as an example, and let that kind of humble you to where you're like, okay, you know what, not everyone has it just like I do, and any second my reality can change in any way, shape, or form. And seeing that person physically made me have empathy for them, because they're living a totally different reality when it comes to having to possibly depend on something external to them to breathe. And emotionally, this person seemed very high-spirited, very emotionally intelligent and in touch, and strong-willed, I can say for sure. And this strong will of them really showed in their energy that they carried. And and that's what I can tell for sure for the short amount of time that I was um, interacting with them. And it was almost as if they knew that I was advocating for stuff having to do with, even if it's not that, just the states of being in general, and that I was in support, and that it was as if as we saw a mere connection, there was a synchronicity, and emotionally there was an ability to see one's perspective, see how one person is in one state, and not emotionally being like, oh, it's not fair, or hey, why is it that you can live like this while someone else is forced to live like that? It's more about how can we come together and help each other in the end, and that be the end goal. And spiritually, of course, this is a synchronicity that will for sure bring more clarity and connect more, as well as that has to do with this path of no nicotine, this path of self-improvement and becoming the best version of self, is the fact that there's people living in certain states of beings other than other people, and in different ways for sure than other people. But it's about being able to take it all in and be able to develop a better perspective on it, and to be able to see that spiritually, that shows that you're on the right path. It shows and confirms that, this is just something out there that confirms it. It just goes to show. And thank you for this interaction, and for this interaction allowing there to be a new perspective, and for me to be able to share a new perspective, and for everyone to be able to grow at the end of the day. And I've been seeing a lot of people that have vapes or whatnot, and maybe that's just, I can see it easily and I can tell, but I'm starting to be able to almost pick up on things where someone will have it in their hand, or someone will literally, okay, here's one thing that I didn't talk about, but this is kind of cool for you guys to listen to. So I was doing something the other night, and someone was in their car, and I went ahead and I was like crossing the street, and this person's like basically, hey, what are you doing in the middle of the road? And then they literally were hitting their vape right in front of me, and it was just made me think about another time where someone was also literally hitting their device, right in front of me, and I was not fazed at all. It was just like, seriously, people, like, you gotta be doing this right out here, right in front of me. And I think that just goes to show certain traits with people that do certain actions and that are involved in these actions. It's not like I'm judging them or anything of that nature. I'm just realizing that someone will try to literally, like I said, it reminded me of a time where I was like to someone, here you go, when I was giving their card back to them, and they're like, oh, what? And then other times that they also blew smoke at me. So I'm like, everything's coming together to show me and to connect, and to show me that this correlates, and this only confirms that you're really fighting the right battles, and that you're on the right path. So let me also say what I have been experiencing when it comes to mentally. Mentally, like I said, been able to correlate the positive reasons of why I did this in the first place with the synchronicities I've been experiencing mentally, and of course physically being able to be in the space where, regardless of people going out of their way to carry their device around me, or and it's not that they're making it apparent, it's that it seems that way. And if they're also going to be blowing that smoke in my area, it hasn't been a problem. It really isn't that big of a deal. And if anything, it seems as if they want a reaction for some reason, but I am yet to ever even give off that reaction, because why would I in the first place when I don't even approve of that action? Emotionally, I'm much stronger than I was when I was addicted to that stuff, and when I was, not as emotionally intelligent and not in my power as much. But now, it's not going to faze me whatsoever. I'm not even. What'd you say? What'd you do? Huh? What? You're trying to get a reaction from me? What? You're blowing smoke in my area? You're carrying that around for me to get a reaction from what? Like, people want to say and have stuff around you like that and be like, oh, I'm sorry for the smoke, sorry for this. And I'm like, who are you saying sorry to? I'm not the one smoking that thing. What are you talking about? And to say sorry in a way where it's not even genuine, come on now. Get along with that stuff. Get out of here with that. It's spiritually not right. I mean, imagine living in a world where it's glorified to be addicted and to be using something that is literally for bringing you closer to death each time you do so. And of course, there's always going to be risks with everything, but make sure you're not doing something that's going to end up putting you, where you don't want to be, or leaving you without a body that even works for you. And therefore, spiritually, how are you going to experience this world that we're in without that? And how are you going to be able to spiritually grow from that point on? But yeah, I'm just realizing a lot of things recently as of the 11-month and 24-day check-in. So it's getting to a point where mentally a lot of clarity is happening, and regardless of physically how exhausted and how exerted I am from all the things I've been doing recently and how busy I've been, I feel like that's really physically keeping me stimulated. Whereas if I'm not physically stimulated, I think one could be more likely to want to sit back and go back to your docile natures. But keeping busy, and not that I would, because I've already gone through a lot of that and I've talked about that in my videos before, but not that I would, but just having that ability to stay busy and stay stimulated physically has definitely been a plus. And I'm sure you will realize that too on your journey, that physically you'll be a lot more stimulated. And then when it comes to emotionally, I can for sure say that recently none of that stuff has had an emotional bearing over me. I've been able to have a interaction with someone who doesn't have a nicotine vape or doesn't even smoke nicotine, to have the same reaction with this person who doesn't. Boom, go to the next person that does have it, someone that has nicotine in their hand or is a nicotine user or whatnot, and it's the same thing. So it has no emotional reaction, it has no emotional hold on me whatsoever when it comes to the emotional state of being. So when I'm documenting, my journey, I want to make sure I include that in there, and that there's no connection to it, rather than the connection of feeling emotionally strong, feeling emotionally confident, and emotionally having the power to not be dependent on something externally to necessarily feel good or feel like I have control 100% of the time, or feel like I can just put myself through a certain scenario just to feel good for a short gain of time, or something that's not going to necessarily last down the road and last in the long run. And spiritually, I'm glad for everyone who is making growth and everyone who is growing and on a spiritual path that's right for them. That's going to be it for the 11-month and 24-day check-in.